I'm here today because I'm drinking coffee from Phil and Sebastian.
Coffee Showcase.
A lot of times there are a lot of coffees I'd really like to try, but you have to buy such a large quantity to be able to try it. And I don't know why more roasters don't offer smaller trial size offerings of their coffees, but it's really a thrill. When I was a young man, my first job was at a television production company. The job that I was there to do was to operate a character generator, a big keyboard hooked to a giant computer that did nothing but create text that could be used on the screen of the television program. I would type the words that the producer asked me to type, and then those words would come up on the TV screen. It was a job. I did it when I was young. The producer was sitting next to me with a piece of paper telling me what words to type. And the producer asked me to type ampersand. So I'd never heard the word ampersand. And so I started to type A-M-P-E-R, and the producer said, no, type an ampersand. So I started again to type the word ampersand, and then this producer stopped me, said, stop joking around. And I said, I'm not joking. I have to confess, I'm not quite sure what you're asking me to do. And the producer said, ampersand, the little squiggly symbol that stands in for the word and. And then the light went off in my head, and I learned a lesson right then that the word ampersand is the name given to the little symbol that is used for and. It's an ampersand that Phil and Sebastian have long had sitting there between their names. And I feel equally silly all of these years later when I discovered Phil and Sebastian for the first time. I see that Phil and Sebastian have this really interesting, unique little logo. And I see this logo and I'm mystified by it. It has some mysterious origin. And I was like, what is the story about this fascinating little mark? And then a few days later, I looked at it again, and blaringly right there, I realized it's a cluster of ampersands. And I felt equally silly all of these years later. The ampersand strikes again. Not a lot of companies are able to shift their identity to a logo that does not include their name. And I'm fascinated as I look at all of this branding, and I realize that the actual name is very small or non-existent. They are leaning more and more on this symbol, this cluster of ampersands. And I think that it's fascinating, and it really shows a mature brand that really believes in the brand that they're building. I hated coffee my entire life. And only in the last few years, having discovered specialty coffee, have I turned into a coffee enthusiast. I peer out at the world in a very similar manner as you do, through an internet browser, searching for great coffee roasters. It's that explosion of enthusiasm around specialty coffee that results in this channel getting a guy who should not be on YouTube, talking about coffee.